few years ago, I really wanted a bulldog. I've been able to manifest 3 bulldogs in my lifetime. Okay, 2 of them we owned, and the third one was most recently. Okay, so the first one, my mother ended up getting a bulldog for free. I wanted a bulldog, and within like a couple of months after putting it out there and saying I wanted a bulldog, I'd love to have one, my mother's neighbor was going to get rid of this beautiful bulldog, Nellie. She was so cute and so crazy, and we loved her, and they were either going to put her down or find a different home for her. So luckily my mother took her in, and she was a great dog, and we had her until my mother passed away. And then whatever. Then a couple of years ago, I wanted a dog. I had a cat, but I also wanted a dog, and I wanted another bulldog. I missed having a bulldog, and I wanted one. And it was during a time when I was going through a very deep heartbreak. I was going through a very low point in my life, and I had a hole that I needed to fill, but I still wanted this dog. And I just said, I wanted a dog. I wanted an English bulldog. I wanted this bulldog for close to free or free. Okay. And I wanted a girl, whatever, I just wanted this bulldog. And I was looking all over the internet for different ways on how I could adopt a bulldog. Everything. Can I find one? There was no way I could afford a $3,000 or $4,000 bulldog. There was no way. I didn't have that kind of money. That's why I had the requisites that I did for what I wanted. And so I found a rescue that was close by to me. I'm not going to name the rescue. And I put in an application, and I never heard anything. I found their website and I just put in an application, never heard nothing. And I went about my life. I was like, okay, I guess a bulldog is not in the cards. So let me start looking for different dogs that I think I would like to adopt. And I was considering going to a big shelter that is not far from here. It's a pretty famous, well-known shelter in New York that a lot of people have adopted plenty of pets from. And I was considering that. And then I remember very distinctly one day getting a phone call from a number I didn't recognize, and I got a voicemail. So I'm like, who would be calling me from this area code? And come to find out, after I listened to the voicemail, it was the woman who ran the rescue, telling me she had a dog for me in my state, and she was available, and they kind of needed to get her rehome because she was in another person's home, and things weren't going very well there because she had younger children. But the thing is, now I loved this dog. However, there were things that were really weighing me down with the dog. I ended up adopting her. Her name was Mia. Her name was Mama Mia, okay? And I loved my Mama Mia so much. I really do. The thing was, she was deaf. That was number one. She had chronic ear infections, which caused the deafness. And as a result of the chronic ear infections, she also had eye problems. She couldn't see that well. Her eyes were cloudy. She had there's a certain thing that they get where they have chronic dryness in their eyes, and because their eyes are dry, it develops this thick mucus over their eyes to help compensate and protect the corneas. So she had a little bit trouble seeing. She could see, and she was a Miss Sassy Pants, but she was completely deaf. She couldn't hear me. And she was a little boss, I'll tell you that. And I loved her. The other thing is that the woman told me she was 7 years old. Turns out she was 11. You wouldn't know it from looking at her. You would not know that this dog was 11 years old. However, this was a dog that was very difficult to rein in because I couldn't train her. She was already, whatever she came, however she was. So I don't know what her original owners did, but obviously they, didn't feed her very well. She had yeast issues going on. The girl that had her before me had gotten her to the point that I got her at, where she got her hair to grow back. She had had bald spots. She had a whole mess of things going on with her that was declining her health. And that's where the ear infections came in. This poor dog probably had a lifetime of chronic ear infections, was caused, after a while, it causes scarring, it causes deafness. So you can't train a deaf dog. And you certainly can't train one that's 11 years old. So it was very hard for me to kind of like re-housebreak her. She was peeing on everything. She peed on my bed. Like the first week, she peed on my old couch. She peed on my bed. Thankfully, I don't have either of those anymore. I have a brand new couch, brand new mattress, you know. But she peed on everything, the bedding, the mat, like everything. And she peed everywhere in my apartment. And sometimes she was pooping, you know. She wasn't letting me know. She would go to sleep, and she'd be in such a sound sleep that when she finally had to go, she'd pop up, and then she would just run and pop a squat. She wouldn't even give me the alert that she had to go out. She wouldn't run to the door. So it really got overwhelming for me. And then there was a time where she actually cornered me in my kitchen because I gave her a Kong with peanut butter, and I motioned like to try and tease her, like, get your Kong, Mia, get your Kong. And she almost tore my freaking leg off. She cornered me for 45 minutes because I had never experienced a dog doing resource guarding. And what I realized at the end of the day was this is what this dog was doing in the girl's house prior to mine, but she had toddlers. So I could understand the girl's fear, but I didn't know that this dog was capable of that. I had never had a dog that did that to me ever, and wouldn't let up. She was like ready to go at me, and I was like, oh my goodness. So my point is that I left too much open to interpreting what I wanted, what creation I wanted. I only put a couple parameters in there as far as what I wanted in the dog, and I got it. I didn't pay any money for her, but I got things that were too much of a trade-off. And it got to a point where I was tired of living in an apartment that was covered in dog pee. And I had to make the very painful decision to rehome her with the rescue's help. We rehomed her in another family's house, and she's living her best life, that little stinker. Okay. But I was unprepared. Plus, there were other major medical issues that happened with the dog while I had her. Because of the ear infections, it also can cause vestibular disease, which is basically vertigo. And the dog would throw up, and she aspirated vomit in her lungs, which caused pneumonia. It was a fiasco. It was too much more than I was prepared for. I wasn't prepared for this thing that I asked for. So you have to make sure that you are prepared, that you lay the groundwork, that you lay as good a foundation as you can, okay, to support that manifestation. It's very important. And the final thing that I want to talk about, the third bulldog that I manifested, okay, was just this past month. My birthday was at the beginning of the month, and a couple days after my birthday, I was like, I really want another bulldog, but I want one that's younger. I want one that's relatively young, that still got some life in them. So, young, more energetic. And I put more thought into what I wanted, what characteristics I wanted in this dog, what color I wanted her, that I wanted it to be a female, what age I wanted it to be, that I wanted it to be healthy, that I wanted it to be a dog that liked to do fun things, fun activities. Mia, being that she was older and the kind of life she had before mine, she liked to sleep. I mean, most bulldogs do, but she just was like, she didn't like water. She didn't like doing much anything other than eating and bossing me around. I still love the dog, okay? I still love her. She's my little fat, little mushy little piggy. But I wanted another dog. I wanted a do-over of the manifestation with more thought into what it was that I wanted for this dog. And I wrote this note for myself. I wrote a post-it note on my phone and just saved it. And then a day later, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking about bulldogs because of an incident she had with her dog. So we were talking about bulldogs. And then the day after that, I was about to post on Facebook, if anybody knows of a bulldog that may be up for adoption, please let me know about it. Relatively, low cost that I'm looking to adopt, okay, if it's an older dog, whatever I was going to put. I wrote this big long post that I was going to post on Facebook, and then I changed my mind and I deleted the post. I deleted it. I never posted it. An hour after I wrote that post, the same friend from the day before contacts me. She texts me and she tells me that somebody on Nextdoor just posted about a bulldog. And I was like, oh my God, you have to reply. You have to reply for me. And I couldn't reply to Nextdoor because we live in different towns. So if you never used Nextdoor before, you know that you may not know that you can't respond if you're like living in a town in another state. You can't respond to another. It's very limited. You can't, it's not like Facebook or anything else where you're very free to move around and talk to people. So I had to rely on her, and I was doing everything that I could to try. I found all different ways that I could try and contact this woman, and she just wasn't coming back to me, because all I did was just put this out there. I stated this verbally. I didn't put a lot of thought behind it and then put a lot of preparation behind it. But for like 4 days, I tried to manifest, to try to get this dog to manifest in my life and be my dog, because she fit the bill. She was 6 years old. She was healthy. She was brindle and white. She was, clean bill of health, like everything that I wanted. And she was close. It was 15 minutes away from me where I live. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But it slipped through my hands. So I know why the manifestation failed, because the foundation wasn't there. There wasn't enough to support that manifestation to come. So yeah, it was a little disappointing, but I've moved on. And that's one way. Another way that I was able to manifest another bulldog. So I know it's possible, and bulldogs seem to be a very easy thing for me. And I know when I'm ready and I'm better prepared, I'm going to manifest the right one. Anyway, thank you so very much for staying with me and getting all the information that I needed to provide you. And I hope this is helpful to you and that you start having better manifestation ability and getting more successful manifestations. Intentional manifestation, intentional creation. And I'm going to go, and you all have a great day. Be blessed, stay blessed, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.